Joining us now, the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States, Oksana Markarova. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us. As you know, Ukraine right now is celebrating what are being described as major gains on the battlefield. In the very same regions, Putin is now illegally claiming to be part of Russia. How big of a turning point potentially is this?
Good evening, Wolf, and thank you for having me. Yes, as we speak, Ukrainian forces are advancing in the east, but also in the south with different speed. But from the beginning of September, we already freed more than 5,000 square miles of territories, and we already control a number of villages and cities which Putin claims voted for to be, in the sham referendums somehow with Russia, where we literally see 100% of people there greeting the Ukrainian armed forces, crying and thanking them for liberating them.
So potentially this could be a turning point. In a bid to get longer range U.S. missiles, Ambassador, Ukraine is now offering, we're told that we're offering the United States, Ukraine is offering the United States what's called veto power over its Russian targets. That, according to multiple officials who spoke to CNN. How do you respond to American officials who say Ukraine is already doing very well with the shorter range rocket systems, the missiles the U.S. has already supplied?
The U.S. support has been a very important part of this victory, and we are always grateful to our American partners for everything we have received today. And we are in discussion on all kinds of capabilities, and the long-range capabilities is something that we always said we need, and we are in discussions right now. Why do we need them? I mean, clearly, what we see in the uncontrolled territories when we liberate them, the mass graves, all the atrocities, everything that Russians are doing there, it's clear that we need to liberate all the territories as fast as possible. One of the important elements of that is destroying the ammo dumps, is actually reaching on our own territory, not in Russia, but on our own territory everywhere where Russians are still illegally there. So everything from MRLSs, HIMARSs, and long-term capabilities, we would be very grateful to receive all of those.
Well, what do you think? Do you think the U.S. will give Ukraine these longer-range missiles, which have a range of, about 200 miles or so?
We really hope so. And we have shown how not only effective, but also how responsibly we're using them.
And will Ukraine, if you're provided these missiles, will you give the U.S. veto power over how they can be used?
Look, we are always working very closely with all of our friends and allies. And as you see, our ministers of defense, our chief commanders are talking on a regular basis. We have this Ramstein type of meetings where we're discussing and we're sharing a lot of information. So, I don't think there is any misunderstanding between our two countries on what is it that we're trying to do. We're trying to liberate our own territories and defend our homes.
As you know, CNN has learned that the United States is considering responses if Putin launches a nuclear display, like striking the Zaporizhia plant, for example. How worried are you, Ambassador, that Putin will make good on his nuclear threats?
Well, first, we have to understand that there are no red lines, unfortunately, for these people. And the number of war crimes they already committed in Ukraine, all of them call for very strong response. Now, we also see that when we respond with force, when together with our international partners, we get everything that we need and we actually get Russians out, they run. So we shouldn't be afraid, and we should just continue doing what we are doing. And yes, we have to understand that it's a big threat that there are Russians on our Ukrainian nuclear station, and we together with the agency and all our partners have to do everything possible and maybe even impossible to get them out from there.
Ambassador Oksana Markarova, thanks so much for joining us. Always good to welcome you here in the Situation Room.